88 Films.
First episode of the year. Thank you guys for tuning in for another year. Hopefully you guys tune in for another year. Oh, our annoying asses. Today we have the typical guests, DC, DC, Andy. And to start off the year, we have the GOAT, Big Luke. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. How was your year?
It's cool. How many episodes did you guys do last year?
58.
So you did more than one a week?
Yeah, we do 2 a week.
Yeah.
When were you filming the other ones?
We would film them 2 a week.
Yeah.
Well, you filmed back to back?
Yeah.
I know the second ones were probably rough.
It was hard because like some shit would change. Yeah. So we thought we were ahead, but then like more news would come out. Like there'll be some days where we'll finish an episode.
Oh, and like you want to drop it like later in the week and something would come out like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Now we're just behind.
Gotcha.
So like the one that we filmed first is always like very current. The next one is how was your weekend?
It was good. I did the pop-up here. Thank y'all for the opportunity to do it. Thanks to everyone who came by. And good.
Yeah. Better than expected or?
Well, it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
The little kid catch the safety day.
Yeah, he really did. He owes me $200.
That's cool.
What's it called? So how's it been a whole year in business alone? Like essentially by yourself, leading a team.
It's been good. You know, like I think a big point of contention at the last thing was I always felt like I was doing the right thing. And when you have business partners who don't see eye to eye with you for better or for worse, it's hard because like when you have people like who are equals in business, everyone's going to think they're doing the right thing generally, right? Because everyone has egos. Everyone's been doing it the same amount of time. Everyone knows they're doing or you think they do. And so it's been really nice working with myself and not having to like run shit by people or like talk to people. Like obviously I still like bounce ideas off people, bounce ideas off my team, but like certain things I don't have to think twice about. Like I just do, which is really nice.
That's good. And then so are you there? You're there every day essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean we're closed Monday, Tuesday, which was initially so I could just have days off. Tuesdays we like do inventory, restock, film content, et cetera, kind of where you guys have Mondays. Monday's my actual day off. But I'm there, 5 days out of the week. There's a couple times a week where like if I have like Mateen, like everyone in there, like, and I want them to like get experience without me being around and I have shit to do, I'll go out and like run errands, but I'm still like around,
Yeah, so it's kind of like when we were on 113 where you would be there, but then sometimes you're like, fuck it, I'll be back. I'll go to solo.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good, like I enjoy actually doing the work and being in there, and like, I think that's kind of like, when I was starting to do like full-time back-end operations for the last thing, like it was difficult because I was like, damn, like this isn't really what I want to be doing. And then when I started like buying and selling shit again, I was like, oh, this is like what I'm actually good at. So it's like nice to be like back in the mix and like actually doing the like work, talking to people, like seeing the product, touching stuff, merchandising the store. Like those are the things that I enjoy doing. Because at the end of the day, like I didn't go to fucking business school or like do any like all the business shit I learned, I kind of just like learned on the fly, but I've been doing retail since I was fucking 15. I just turned 35. So I was here, we're doing this shit for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a minute. What would you say is like the biggest difference now being solo and like because you're kind of doing something completely different now from what you were doing before? What do you think is like the biggest difference from your previous thing and now?
I think obviously, like, it's a smaller operation, which is enjoyable for me because it's, like, less to worry about. Yeah. And then I can kind of, like, focus on, like, everything a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's two different things because round 2 was more current hip, kind of how we are, and then yours is more niche.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, the whole ethos of the store, people are like, what should I bring you? What's good? Like, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, just bring me shit that you think is cool, and if I think it's cool, I'll buy it. Like, there's no, like, I'm looking for only vintage, or I'm looking for only designer, or I'm looking for only thing. Like, if I think something's cool and interesting, I'll buy it for the store, even if I don't think it's going to sell, just because I wanted to have it in there and, like, show off our curation.
So good thought of the captions. I feel like the captions have really, like, kind of kept people tapped into your page. That's, like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, this is a big part of his business.
It's not even, like, it wasn't even, like, a thought like that. It was just... I mean, Nate, like, when do we start really doing, like, the captions? like a month or two in, right? Because I was looking back at like old shit the other day, and I was like, oh, like I didn't even remember doing like the like sneaker style caption which of like size XL going out, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just like me being bored because it was slow for the first 4 months. You know, for the first 4 months, everyone who came into the store knew about me already. I wasn't getting like organic foot traffic. I wasn't like doing anything. We had to grow the social and just grow like the name, because also where we're at in the city is like cutting, you know, like we're like by everything, but like you have to like know where you're going to find the store. Like you don't straight walk by it and like see it.
No, yeah, I think people don't understand that about New York, that like if you're not like on a certain street, even though you're like a 2-minute walk, people won't walk through there.
I mean, I'm literally next to Dudley's, but I'm around the corner and I see people walk by all the time who like would probably shop with us, but they're just not walking down that street. I'm not gonna like fucking go out there with like a sign, you know.
I really think that you just did it one day after we were out partying all night, and it's like you woke up like the next day and you started this.
Well, I think I was just like bored in the shop, like fucking around, just like saying shit.
Yeah.
Just because I was, like
You were just literally bored.
Yeah, like, well, the thing about it too is like, at the end of the day, you can't, for what I'm selling, and this is like free game for like other fucking resellers, like you can't sell LV on your Instagram. And you can't put like size 36 for 2,000 going out, and how like they'll take your shit down and give you a violation, and then you can't like do all this shit on Instagram. You can't like collaborate with people. You can't do XYZ. And so really it was like, I don't really put sizes. I never put prices as a way to kind of circumvent that. And then at a certain point, it's just like people know that everything I have is either in store or on the website. So I can kind of just like talk shit on the Instagram and just like entertain myself, which is really a big part of it. And then like, you know, like people see the picture, they know what it is. As long as I put the size, the people know what it is. Even if they don't, they just DM me, I'll tell them, you know?
Yeah, so one thing that obviously in the past that I've seen you do now is like adapting to like newer trends and stuff like that. So before, back in the day, I remember I gave you guys like an idea of TikTok, and they were against it. And then now it's just like, do you find it harder? Because I find it harder here, like that you really have to be tapped into everything. Well, you have to do everything. You have to do every social media platform, essentially. You have to be more open to people, and also taking in more product like that's different than everybody. Because I always tell people, like, before you come here, there's 10 to 15 other stores that you're going to drive by that have exactly the same shit that we have.
Exactly.
So why are you going to pick us? Do you think that is a little different? Or because I feel like you're probably like a one-of-one type store out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think besides a few other places in the country, no one else is really doing what I'm doing. But it's just like, I want people to bring me shit first before anyone else, and then they can go try to sell it to whatever else place, you know? Like, but I'd rather have first dibs on it by, you know, having the best curation for trades, you know, paying the best for stuff, and just like hopefully having the best customer experience where people want to come by and talk to me.
Yeah, because in New York, for let's say your type of stuff, nobody really buys the rights up front. It's mainly consignment or
What?
like merchandise. Like,
I cash out on everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but they don't. Like other
Oh yeah, like Tokyo 7 or whatever else, you know, like, I'm the only person who's really cashing out on it. Besides, like, a second stream, they're going to offer you like $2 for
Oh yeah.
like a hair writ.
Yeah, because I find that here where I send people and they're like, bro, can you just take the rest of it? I don't care. And because they know they're going to go get either of those.
It's like not worth their time to drive across town to fucking get $40 for a bag of clothes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What's been like the biggest hurdle for you as far as like going from buying streetwear and kind of like shoes to now getting kind of like archive pieces, designer stuff? Like, what's been the big difference between that and now what you're doing?
I mean, I think it's just like it's the same thing with like selling vintage tees. It's like building like the encyclopedia in your head of the knowledge of like, this is from this should be like this tag should look like this should be this texture, you know, like this is worth XYZ when this other bill is just like it isn't, or vice versa. You know, it's just like building up that knowledge base in the same way that you guys can like look at like a pair of like, you know, like Brett ones that don't have a box and ostensibly look real, but there's something off about it, whether it's like the leather texture or the shade of the red, or does it have the fucking glitter on it because it's not old, you know, like there's like things that you look at with that, and it's just like building up that knowledge base has been like, I wouldn't say difficult, but that was like a process, you know. And it's like I'm still learning. It's like if you don't continue to learn every day, you're gonna fucking get left behind, you know.
Yeah, and I see that you've done that a lot, even with transitioning, like leaning more into social media. Like obviously now you're doing more reels, more TikToks. How has that helped you in your personal business now?
What doing like the short form stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been huge for us. Like Nate has been a huge driver in that.
Yeah.
Because he gives me a ton of ideas and edits all the videos and makes them look good. But like, yeah, like people tell me all the time they like watch the videos and shit. You know, like people buy stuff off the product videos, yes, but like more so, I think people are just like watching it to hear like what we're talking about. You know, and like what you asked me about like being tapped in with shit. It's like, I think as much as it sucks to have like 10 hours of screen time every day, like it like behooves me to be chronically online and fucking be always on these social media platforms. So I kind of just like know what's going on and be able to like tap into the zeitgeist of what's going on. Like for example, what movie did we watch? Tombstone? I watched it. I rented Tombstone. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Yesterday, just because I hadn't seen it in a while. And then like Throwing Fits posted like a meme about it like 20 minutes after we watched it, you know? So it's like being like, this is a whole nother conversation, but like when people say that like XYZ design house stole my idea or like so-and-so, it's like, no, we all have the same points of reference now because of the internet and how like homogenized like the hive mind of like our culture has become. So it's just like being tapped into that so you can kind of like pivot and like talk to people about things they don't think they'd be able to talk to you about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that does make sense, because it is funny how like when you think of something and then you see like you actually pay attention to what other people are doing and you're like, oh, this kind of looks the same, but it's just a different reference.
Yeah, but it's like we're all pulling from the same points of reference. Like unless you're someone like fucking Tim who like has like a crazy like someone like Tim or like someone like that who has like a very large like print collection, like most of the shit that we're seeing is like the same 20 items regurgitated because they've been uploaded. Like there's a ton of stuff to reference, but a lot of it hasn't made it to the internet yet, you know?
Tim Loki has helped me a lot with like paying attention to what he's seeing or paying attention to what he's doing. And then I'll be like, oh, let me look at this. And then I'll tap into it and I'm like, oh shit, this is something that I feel like nobody has seen.
Yeah, like if you like scan that, if like you scan a page and put it on Twitter, like it might go viral, even though it's been in the public domain for decades, just because no one's taking the time to like find this specific thing that makes sense to what we're talking about right now, scan it, put it on the internet.
Yeah. A big thing for us, I would say that at the start when we opened, personally coming from New York to here, I noticed like the slowdown and like, oh shit, we actually have to build this. Did you ever have a time where you're like, oh shit, like it's a lot slower now, and then I have to actually...
100%. You know, like, well, also like the reason I went and did this in New York on top of my space kind of like being very cheap and falling into my lap was like, I felt that I had a bigger network in New York and just like what I was doing made more sense to build in New York because there's wasteland out here, there's better second streets, there's just like more people doing kind of like, not exactly what I'm doing, but in the realm of what I'm doing. So I was like, let me like be out of LA for a while, you know, like be away from my girl, which has been tough, but it's just like, I feel vindicated now because like now it's like, okay, like people like, I was like, I think like doing the idea that doing it in New York was like the right move has been very vindicated, you know?
No, yeah, I always tell these guys that doing something in New York, I feel would have grew a little bit faster. Like at least
it's just more dense and it's just like more like, you know, self-fulfilling.
And I feel like even this one time when I went to help you out with round 2, I came out of the store and everybody was just like, oh, what hat is that? And I was wearing a Syndicate hat. Yeah. And it wasn't that they even cared what Syndicate was. They were just like, oh, it's a cool hat. And I was like, oh, I have a couple in my bag. And they're like, oh, let me buy it. It's like, bro, give it to them. Exactly. But it's just like stuff like that where like people just want to feel like, oh, I'm buying something different or I'm like close to you.
Well, that's like the beauty of like the lower too is like, even unless you're like on like that awful strip of Melrose where everyone hangs out, like there's not a lot of places you can walk outside in LA and people are going to be like, oh, that hat's bumping hard, you know, like, so it's just like a lot more like synergy between everybody being kind of crimped in the same areas, you know? But yeah, I mean, as far as also just like building it, I had to 100% build it from like ground up.
I remember I saw it. Yeah.
You know, like it was fucking frustrating and it was hard and it was very humbling because it was like, feels like I had to start over in my mid-30s when I thought I was like potentially going to be retired before COVID. Like, you know, at this time I was like, it was really fucking humbling and I had to like sit back and like swallow my pride and just like put the work in and just do it, you know?
Yeah. And then obviously you're saying like you had to do it in New York, but it was hard for you to kind of leave LA. Do you plan on doing like expanding to LA? Or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was like, we were negotiating a lease and it kind of fell through the other day. So I'm trying to find like a right spot for LA. I'm trying to decide where I want to do it. But like, I think LA and New York are the only places that really make sense domestically to do what I do. Maybe like one overseas, but I don't want like 9 stores. You know, I want like 2 or 3, and then scale up e-com. So it's like a lot less for me to worry about, like, cause staffing is the biggest pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You know, like I just remember like having to deal with like run payroll for like 90 people. And then like, they're all hitting me up, asking me fucking questions. They all have egos and like personalities. It's just like, I'm not a fucking HR person. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like look, me and you always talk about how like our industry, or at least our like workplace, is very hard to scale, just because. I mean, we noticed that at round 2, it's just like once you lose like me, you, and then the other business partners, it's like who's next?
Well, we were talking about this the other day in here. It's like the real is probably going to fold because like at a certain point, like it's impossible to be profitable and scale the human capital you need to be able to do this, because there's a lot of room for people to finesse you. There's a lot of room for people to fuck up and not know what they're talking about, even though they think they know what they're talking about. And it's like, once you get out of like 1 or 2 degrees of like separation from like the very top of the company, it's like, it's so hard to control that. And so hard to like, you know, fucking get it right.
Yeah, trusting people is a very hard thing to do in this.
Yeah, I mean, also just like look at like the fucking railroad warehouse. You have like a bunch of like, you know, if you're running something at consignment, you have your margins, 40% all in. You have to pay for the warehouse. You have to pay to get the shit shipped in. You have to pay people to authenticate it. And it's like, how much can you really pay someone? So the other day you're paying a bunch of like 19-year-olds to do it because you wanted to scale too fast, and it's like impossible to profit.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, having 1 or 2 stores is better because it makes you that more desirable.
In what way?
Like, I feel like people are like, for example, you remember when we were only in Hollywood, it was like...
Oh, you think that like over expanding makes it like too accessible?
Yeah.
Like those spots that like you see the Instagram ads for, where they have like one in the Beverly Center, one in like West Palm Beach.
Like, well, I like stores
in it's like everywhere in the world. I mean, I think those are 2 different schools of thoughts, where it's like, I know some people who want to have like Fenty stores because they want to grow top line, and then there's people like us who kind of like see the value in staying small and staying niche, because at the end of the day, like, I don't think that there's a lot of VC or investment money for this type of company anymore in the way that there was before COVID, before interest rates went up. So it's like, it's not like, no, even if you open 5 more syndicates, it's not like you're going to take on $100 million investment. No one stole money like that anymore. So it's like, what direction do you want to take, and how bad do you want to kill yourself and stress yourself out to get to that place, right?
Yeah, because I feel like for us, this is a story that was built on like seeing multiple businesses and growing with them. I feel like I learned so much in the 10+ years that I've been.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's still, we're not perfect. Like, you would think like, oh, these guys got to be fucking perfect, but it's not.
I mean, it's like, I don't think it's possible to be perfect in business, you know, like, you know, it's weird because, you know, it's like, you ever go to one of those restaurants that's like obviously like a one-on-one restaurant, but it seems like a chain because the person who like started it like has like 50 other fucking restaurants. Like, obviously, yeah, strive to be like that, where it's like, oh, like this is this much better because of the experience behind it, but it's hard, you know, like, I don't know.
And it's like the thing where the whole business is very hands-on, and it's like it's the mix of everything, of having to stay current with what people like, and also like having the curation and even being able to source products sometimes to where you want to make sure you stand out and you're not looking like everybody else at the same time.
Yeah.
You want to give people like a reason to come to you.
I mean, also at the end of the day, like, retail is like the jankiest industry. Like, you know, like anyone who's really, really good at retail is vastly overqualified to be doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're like really bomb at retail, you could probably get a job, you know, whatever the fuck else. You know, like my best person on the floor is Nate, and he's so overqualified to be fucking in the store. But when he's in there, he's fucking talking to people. He's great, you know? And so it's like, it's hard to like get it, because if you usually like at Essence or any of these other apparel companies, like behind the website, you pull the wall down, it's like, it's probably janky as fuck in the warehouse. It's probably not organized. They're probably bleeding inventory, you know, like it's a really hard industry to like do and do well.
Yeah.
Even with, you know, a decade of experience or 20 years of experience we have.
So in the last year of Lukes NYC, what's been like the best thing? Like, as in like standout thing, like one moment that you're like, oh shit, this is sick.
I don't think there's been one standout moment. I think it's just been like seeing the growth, like having people come and like talk to me and like be into it, like, I watch the videos, like it's been really rewarding and like really nice. Like obviously it's really nice to like, I'm not where I was monetarily with the last company, obviously, but like I'm able to pay my bills and able to like, like not completely stress out about money, which has been really nice. But like more so than that, like people just coming to me and being like, we're outside, people are like, yo, like I love your videos, or I love your captions, or like I love what you're doing, or like people who I respect coming in and be like, oh, you have like really good sheet, like it's like small things like that to me really add up. It's like one larger moment of things that like mean a lot to me.
Yeah, that's happened to us too, where people tell us like, oh, you guys are the best store out here, and I still don't believe that. Like I still think probably Cool Kicks is like number one just because of what they do out there. But then I actually go to other stores and I'm just like, shit, they might be right. Like I'll just like I would say like the sneakerhead of me makes me walk into any store just kind of like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go check it out, even though I'm gonna waste everybody's time in there.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I'll look at pricing, even just look at what they have, and then I'll come back in here, and then I'm just so used to seeing all this on a daily basis, where to me it's in my brain it's watered down, but in reality I'm just, oh shit, it's actually better stuff than most.
Yeah, I have a lot of shoes in here too, like for the size of the space.
Yeah, and we thought this was a big space.
It is a big space,
Yeah,
but like you guys have a lot of shit.
and too much. Way too much.
Yeah, a lot of shit. What was?
Yeah, working on it. But yeah, we'll take a little break and then we'll get back to it. All right, we're back. Little smoothie break. All right, guys, do it.
Tired.
Did you go out last night?
Nah, I had to go pick somebody up like at 2 a.m. That shit sucked because it was in Hollywood and it was a bunch of idiots outside.
Dude, pick something up from Delilah.
Wow. I was also in the fucking hills, bro. Oh, idiot.
He turned on his Uber.
The after.
Yo, no, my homie that he invited me out last night, that I went out with on Saturday, guess what time they got home? That's
Like now?
like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, and right now he's trying to go to another event. And I'm just like, hasn't been asleep a day.
Not the fucking mid-morning afters.
Bro, literally, with that actors, he texted us, he's like, it doesn't end at 8 p.m. tonight.
Well, I had a homegirl who ran one of the afters downtown, and she'd be like, yeah, like my shift would be like 5 a.m. to like 1 p.m. P. Still be like, I'm going.
It's kind of insane.
Sick and twisted.
Pass on that.
Sick guys. Fucking I love you.
I'm with Chase, man.
Been so wrong.
12 hours in, King. Yeah, got a couple of hours in. But yeah, so a lot of people always wanted to know,
So
how did Round 2 come about?
how did it come about?
Yeah, like, so, like, how was, like, pretty much like a little origin story.
I think I've told this story like 17 fucking times.
Yeah, but not, yeah.
So living in Richmond, I grew up in Charlottesville, which is like a small college town. I was working retail. I worked at a shoe store, and I was in the Nike talk. I was super into clothes, or super into like sneakers, really, and then kind of clothes came from that. And went to college in Richmond. Went to VCU. That's where I met Nate and most of my friends I'm still friends with. And I would go fly out for Jordans because I wanted new Jordans, which was like kind of a thing with times, like early 2010s, maybe like late aughts. And I would see Sean in those lines because he was the only other white dude who'd be in those lines flying up for Jordans. I think he was selling them where I was keeping my shit.
Yeah.
And then, like, graduated from college, I didn't really know what to do. My other source of income kind of slowed up. And so I started working retail. I was working in DTLR, which is the sneaker store, and I was working at Saks and the Gucci section. So I was working like 7 days a week for like 6 months. And Sean and Chris, there was like a Heady, you remember the Heady like clothing store where the first R2 was? No, it was on Broad, but it was like, it had like the LRG account. It was like a festy, like, it was like a Wook clothing store. Because like all the Wooks were into like LRG and Tin Deep and shit like 5 years after everyone else was into it. And they were like and all the like real streetwear stores had closed in Richmond during the recession. So this was like the only store that had that type of shit. The kid who had that was like, yo, I'm moving to Colorado to do it, bro. Do you want the space? And he had to think Russo about it. And I think Russo and Sean had been working together. They had they were thrifting and they had a fucking like storage unit where they were selling stuff out. And I didn't even know Russo. I knew Sean. And I guess he knew I had retail experience, and he was like, yo, do you want to come do the store with us? And I was like,
I did not.
and I mean, I was just like very risk averse at the time. And so I go to New York, up there partying with them. And I see they like signed the lease on Instagram. And I'm like, oh shit, I felt like fucked up. And so like go back down. I figured it was a bad move not to do this. So I go back down, and they wouldn't return my calls. And I like pull up on Sean's house and like threw some bread in his lap. And I was like, yo, like here's like my line, couldn't do it, otherwise just give me the bread back. And I guess he like called Russo. I was like, yo, I don't know what to do, rah rah rah. And then they like tapped me in. Basically, it's like what happened. And so he opened it June 2013 in that small space. Which is another reason why the store I'm in now feels so familiar, because I'm used to working in small spaces. And I was working, I had just got a job as a bank teller at Wells Fargo at the time. And I was like, I finally have a real job. And we had been open for a few weeks by the mid-August 2013. And I think I'd gotten my first like real check. And it was like 2 weeks of work. It was like $284 to drive that shit. And I pull up to R2 on a Friday night, and they're like, oh, you want your bread for the day? To me. They're like, we're just gonna split the money at the register. We like did like good numbers day, and like gave it $350 cash, and said, shit, like fuck this, like went and quit my job, that month. And then we did that, we did LA in I guess mid 2015, opened up a bigger store in Richmond, which I wasn't super stoked on, but it's fine. It was still so cheap. And then did LA, and then New York, Miami, Chicago, did a bunch of pop-ups in 2016.
Yeah, I remember when I got hired in Hollywood, you were running VA.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was like that every employee were like, yeah, Luke's the sickest one. And we're like, what do you mean? Because I thought, in my head, I'm like, oh, the sun's shining. Cool. Yeah. And then I think you came by one weekend, and it was like probably like my first month. And then we chilled, and we like did a bunch of shit, but I never chilled with Russo and Sean. And then you left, and I was just like, damn, Luke's probably the sickest. Yeah.
I remember the first time I came in, and I was like, why is this fucking kid behind the bike counter got an off-white tee on?
Yeah. And it was funny because you guys didn't take off-white.
Yeah.
Like, Sean and Russo were so taking off-white. And I was just like, bro, it's just going to sell. And then they were like, why? And I was like, retail's like $350.
Dude, it was expensive back then, yeah.
And it was like good materials and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm going to lowball people at $100 a tee.
Yeah.
And they started taking it, and we would put them up at 140, 150, and they were flying. And then Sean and Russo were like, bro, this shit's selling.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, bro, $300 tee.
Off-white from that era still fucking sells for me at the store now.
Because it was good.
I think people are just really nostalgic for, like, I'm going to put this in the next trigger report, like, Melrose core, instead of Watch the Throne core. Yeah. Like stuff from, this is the first of my 2024 trigger reports. I was thinking about this last night. Like, anytime I get, like, off-white V-Lone tees, or, like, certain Supreme pieces from that era, or just, like, certain shit from that era, because a lot of people... Julian, how old are you now?
7.
Yeah, maybe you're a little young.
That's too young.
But, like, there are a lot of kids who, like, were, 12, 13, 14, who are now in their mid-20s, and now they're like, oh, I still kind of want this piece. And it's like, the price hasn't really caught up with, like, what it is, so it's still accessible for people. So, like, anytime I get that shit, like the Ben Trill Travis Scott shit like that, where people, like, have pictures in their mind of it, like, and that stuff is, I think, going to be really hot this year, and it continues to be for me. With Fair Store 2 actually work.
Yeah, with
like when I was at R2.
Yeah.
The first Richmond store was fucking insane, just because of, like, the people we were dealing with, and, like, what we were doing kind of, like, didn't have, like, no one knew, like, people were like, buy used shoes, and what the fuck are y'all on? Yeah. Oh, goodness. But I think New York, just because I love New York. I love the people in New York. Like, that's why I like being there now. It's like, I like being able to kind of, like, talk shit to people from behind the buy counter, and then, like, take it and, like talk shit back to me. Like, I think I got a reputation out here that I was, like, kind of a dick, but it was really just me, like, being like that. People out here being like, oh, like, why is this dude, like, talking to me like this,
Yeah, it's a different demographic for sure.
Yeah, it's also like people need to, like, understand sarcasm, because a lot of the shit I say is, like, me trolling, but it's just very dry. If they don't get that, it just seems like I'm like saying some shit out of left field.
No, you know. What do you feel like we got along because we both kind of had that dark humor, and some people would be like, "Yo, the fuck," and I'm like, "That's just Luke, you know?
Yeah.
It's just his humor."
No, yeah. No, even that's why I think like even the way you write your captions and everything, it makes sense because it gives people like a bit of your personality where they may not understand that if you didn't do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I also just think that like a lot of, especially resale people, like just take themselves so fucking seriously. And so it's like, it's not that serious. You know, I always say it's like I just sell clothes. It doesn't really need anything, you know, like, so, I mean, it means something, but you know, like it's not that serious where it's like, I'm doing the world some sort of service, even if I am selling something you can't find, you know? So it's just like, can we just have fun doing this? Because otherwise it's just like another job, you know? Like I think 4G Mini is good just because all he does is tell people to go fuck themselves. You know, he's just like a psycho. But like, I think that's a huge part of his brand and it shows through, which is really nice. And I think like the fucking business dudes, they ask me the same question like in 3 different interviews. You know, they're like how does someone like differentiate themselves in this world? It's just like, be yourself, and like if people fuck with you, they'll fuck with you. But also, it's like not every person on earth, character, and not everyone's special. And like, it's fine to be like an NPC or like a normal person, you know. Like, and I know it's hard with social media, but you know, be yourself, and people like latch onto it, they will. And it's not like it's not the end of the world because you still have like you still have people around who love you, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember working in New York was fucking hilarious because it was just like, I don't know, it was just weird thing how me and you would always be working and then be like, oh, let's go to Soho, and then come back and be like, oh, spend like $4.
Yeah, we were like, they used to fucking cash out at like Balenciaga and like all these different stores, like opening ceremony was still open. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm like glad I don't spend that much money on clothes anymore.
Bro, literally, like we would come back and be like, oh, what the fuck, I gotta start something thick.
Yeah.
Or something. What's it called? I remember for me at least, the post-quarantine round 2 was like my favorite. But it was just so funny because I remember this just seeing your face when we were about to close down because of the quarantine.
Yeah.
And then I remember it was that Monday because we closed on Tuesday.
We're like, yeah, we're gonna close down for like a week and just like it'll be fine.
Yeah, but I remember once kid, because Ronnie doesn't close. So Ronnie's open right now. It was open last night.
Yeah.
And Supreme had closed the Friday before, and then we were like, should we close? And we're like, nah. And then Monday we wake up and kids post like the whole like for your protection we're gonna do this. And we looked at each other like, I think we gotta close. And then we posted our first shoes for sale, and people fucking ripped us in the comments for staying open.
Yeah, everyone's like, you don't give a fuck about us if you want us to die. Like, rah. And I was like, oh shit, maybe we like should. And low key, that was what made us close more than anything else. I was like, I'm gonna stay open. Like, I'll work this shit in the hazmat suit if I got. Like,
and then I remember we went because we were roommates, and then I just hear you stressing on the phone, and we're like, oh shit, this is real. Like,
yeah.
And I think for the first week we gained like 20 pounds.
Yeah, we were eating a lot of fucking bad
Taco Bell, like every week.
Well, it's like, cause I was like, I might die.
Yeah, so might as well. Because we were actually scared
I was like shook. I was like, this shit like is like killing people. Like, I can't see it. You know, I was like, I remember distinctly being like, shit. Like,
yeah. What was your like reaction? Because obviously he was saying like Luke was like freaking out. Like, what were you thinking at that moment? Like, because obviously,
well, like it was just like a very uncertain area. Yeah, what's going on?
No, it should not. And this is for a lot of people, employees that used to say that the owners didn't care. He was just like, what the fuck am I going to do about all these employees?
Yeah, like...
like, he was like...
That was the hard part, was like, you know, like, it was unsure because it's like, when you have that big of an operation, like, there's costs every week that don't stop. And, you know, and it's like, you can't take product in. Like, we didn't know if landlords were going to give up free rent. We didn't know about PVP or EDD or any of that shit at the time. So, like, it was, like, very scary.
No, yeah, because I remember we were still paying rent because they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Even our apartment, because that's what I was stressed about. I was just like, what the fuck? But you guys paid me, so
yeah,
lit.
Sorry.
But yeah, then we came back. Well, you moved. It was funny. You moved during the quarantine.
But I was like, I had already planned to move. I went to January. I think I got COVID in LA in January when everyone came back from Harris Special.
I think we all got sick because you remember you did that.
Feynman gave it to me.
We did that what was it? Where you took us out to eat pizza like in February. It was, I don't know, you just we ate pizza right there in the Lower East Side, and it was all of us, and all of us were sick at that dinner, bro.
Yeah, everyone was sick.
And this is before they were like, all COVID's a thing. And then I think you moved to what, April?
Yeah, I think it was April. I think we were planning on moving in like early March, and then we couldn't.
Yeah, because I remember then that's when you had me doing all the grilled stuff for round 2.
Yeah.
And then we opened, bro. When we opened that week was like I think the craziest week that we have ever had.
Probably.
Yeah, where it was just a line wrapped around the block every single day.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it was a weird, bro. It was just so crazy to think about it. We were working with masks. We were getting in arguments with customers because we're like, you can't come in without a mask. Like all these, and then the city would come and fuck with us almost every day.
Yeah.
Like you got to post. They got to stand here, stand there, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? And then when we got the whole like, we had to write everything down and turn it into the fucking city, but we were taking in.
Yeah. I mean, I still deal with that now.
Yeah, they're still on it.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That's tough.
Obviously, like Chris always says, like he really enjoyed working at the Round 2 New York because he felt like it was his own like store. How did you feel about like him kind of basically running the day-to-day operations there? And like he'd always say, like every time I would send the end of the day, like the numbers, you guys would be like, bro, what? But like, was there anything you were thinking of him kind of being like, I trust him, like he knows what he's doing? Or was there anything else like in your mind?
I think more so than just someone like Briss, like if you are running a company that you want to scale and you can't bring people on that you trust to be an extension of yourself, and you want to micromanage people all the fucking time, you're never going to be able to get it right. You know, like if you can't take your, like anyone who owns a business is going to be a fucking control freak, whether or not they will admit it, you know? Yeah. But I think if you're not able to at least relinquish some bit of control and let the people who work under you, I also am a firm believer that if you can't hire people who are smarter than you in the places like to fill in your blind spots, you're never going to succeed. So yeah, if you're really smart, you hire people who are better than you and put them in positions to do their job, you know, better. So you as an owner or you as a manager or whatever can like focus on the bigger picture. Yeah. That's the only way to succeed. So it's like, you have to have faith in your people or you're going to fucking fail, you know, or you're going to micromanage them to death and then they're going to leave, they're going to lose talent, and talent's a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when District 1 came about and then we had that whole conversation about me staying at round 2. I remember you were like, what do you think we need to do? And I said, we got to fucking spend bread. Yeah. And then I think the next day I sent you a minus 35K day and you were just like, all right, fuck it, let's see what happens. Yeah. And low-key, I think that final, I think it was like 4-month stretch was like one of like, for me, just numbers wise, just remembering the numbers that we were doing, I was just like, that was like one of our best like little stretches when we were competing with a competitor directly across the street.
I mean, when you're in this industry, like, you know, the second you stop spending money or taking product is the second that people, you know, like
somebody could like
shop it. Like, people take your market share because they can buy the shit that you're buying, but more so it's like the customers, for whatever reason, only want brand new product, you know, coming into the store. Whether it's like you reposting shit so it looks like it's new or whatever else, like intaking product is the name of the game for this. It's like, this is why this business moves faster than traditional retail. So it's like, if you're not intaking product, you're dead in the water. And it becomes like a self-actualizing thing, whether it's getting in a ton of product and sales go up or not spending money and sales go down because people think you're not getting shit. People think you're not spending money, so it'll pull up, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen because even for us, like it was weird. I was working on the website and I uploaded a Off-White Chicago for here that we had just fake uploaded it. And on the tests, you know how you could have like a test, or what's that shit called? Theme or whatever. But if you go to our real website right now, that's just Syndicate merch, you could still search for product. And I guess somebody was on the website and he searched Off-White Chicago and that shit popped up and he inquired about it right away. And I was just like, damn, we're fucking missing out on a ton of shit. People like don't have a website at all. Essentially, it's just our merch. But I was like, this guy that was just bored looked up Off-White Chicago and it popped out for him.
I mean, think about how many people who aren't in LA or New York want access to this stuff, but like don't want to deal with eBay, don't want to deal with one of these apps because they don't trust them, but like they grew up watching any one of us on the internet or on social media and they trust us and they would rather spend the money with us, or they just like know they can get a better deal with us.
Yeah. No, yeah, because we get a lot of DMs or even just like emails of people are like, hey, do you guys even have anything in your store? Because everything says sold out on the website. Because when we do upload product for people so they could buy it from the website, but it's just like that. So when somebody search view all, it'll be a lot of sold out product. And then we're just like, fuck, like people really do believe that there's nothing in the store that don't have access to the
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was talking to you about Shopify. Like, I'm a big proponent of Shopify and like having your full inventory online.
Yeah. Do you still get, it happens here, this guy recently came in and he was just like, oh, you guys opened another store. And I was just like, what do you mean? He's like, it's not round two. Do you still get some of that or not?
Not for what I do, because I don't have any sneakers in there.
Yeah.
But I have people come in and talk to me about it all the time, and I do my best to like, you know, have a conversation. You know, like I'm not bad about the past that I have or like what happened, like because like it afforded me the opportunity to like move around the country, meet a ton of people, make a living, and like figure out what I'm good at and what I really want to do. You know, so it's like people come in. Also, you know, like even if you're in a bad mood, like if someone sees you on the internet and they take the time out of their day to come in and talk to you, and they want to like talk to you, like you being nice to them for 2 minutes is going to mean way more to them than it ever will to you. But if you're a fucking dick to them, they're going to remember that forever, you know? Like, so it's like, it really behooves you to like take the time to really try to be kind to people and like get to know them, or at least have a meaningful conversation with them, you know?
No, yeah, that happens literally all the time, Gareth. Where I'm just fucking storytelling because they ask to go around too and all that stuff. But same thing, I'm just like, I don't get like mad at it or anything. Just like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit around and like tell stories about it just because like I don't think nostalgia in general really like does anything for me. Like there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in my life, and I want my eyes to be like forward down the road, you know, like.
And then obviously like you been like pretty close with all of us even throughout the years. Mainly Briss. How'd you like, how did that come? Like, I'm pretty sure obviously you saw that he was going to open up Syndicate. Did you guys ever have a conversation, or did you ever like give him any advice on basically opening up his own store?
I mean, I think we talked about it. Like, I don't remember having like a specific conversation. You may remember better than I do, but like, I think it was like, you know, it hurt when I was still in the last company to lose someone as valuable as Briss. You know,
yeah,
like it felt like a failure on my part because I felt like I hadn't done enough to keep him happy or keep him like in the game. But at the same time, like, and then like when I lost like Manny and fucking DC too, it's the same thing. But at the same time, you can't really be mad at someone for wanting to do what's best or what they feel is best for their lives. You know, like at the end of the day, if you like try to hold someone doing what's best for themselves against them, it's like how you wouldn't hold yourself to that same standard. You know, so it's like really not trying to like put yourself in other people's shoes and empathize with them and be like, you know, like who the fuck, you know, it's like if you really like want to own a company and like want to deal with the bullshit of doing it and think that that's what's going to make you happier, it's like kind of to like let people go do that. And like, sure, you can maybe like feel some type of way about it, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't really do shit for you to resent other people for doing what they think is best for themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like we never really had a full combo about it, but we kind of just we always still bounce ideas or like, what do we think is best for business, etc. So I think we still have that, like, I still sometimes feel like I still work for Round 2 or like for you, you know, like I'm just like, I gotta ask him what he thinks about this, and same thing, you hit me up.
Just about 20% of sales.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even you coming to the pop-up, like even Rob, like himself, like he was like, bro, that like on Thursday, he was like, it was just like a different energy. Like it just felt, because even when customers were coming in, like like you were saying yourself, you still go up and talk with them. Oh, this is my favorite piece. You're just like, yo, what's up? And then that's it. Like you're still on the floor doing it. And I was telling Rob, I was like, bro, like that was Round 2 almost every day. Like just that energy. And then seeing both of you kind of, I never really seen you guys both work together, but just from those days, I was like, damn, that's probably how it was, but times like 100, you know?
Yeah.
Because you both were like, obviously you're doing your own thing now, and then we're selling the shoes and like streetwear, but it was like the same type of energy. At that moment, was it like, damn, I missed this? Like that, kind of that feeling that you guys had like working together?
I mean, obviously, like I love Briss, I love all y'all, and it's like I like hanging out with y'all, but it's like I don't want to say like I missed working with y'all, because it's like like when it's like what it's like it's like work is fucking work, it's like as long as I don't have to work with someone I hate, which I don't have anyone in my company who I hate, and I don't think y'all do anymore. Yeah.
I think it was cool because it was just like a lot of people for some reason still thought that guys would hate each other.
Well, it's like, yeah, I don't hate anyone who has anything to do with the last company. I don't hate any of y'all. And it's like, just because you don't see eye to eye with someone on a business level doesn't mean that y'all are fucking enemies. I think people who have never been in real business don't understand kind of like the ins and outs of like money shit. Like, if you can't compartmentalize money shit from like personal shit, and obviously those things are going to bleed over. It may affect one or the other, but like if you can't do a good job of compartmentalizing that, you're never going to be able to succeed or have any sort of interpersonal relationships outside of work. And we've seen that with people that we know we've worked with, where like their entire life is only inside of work, and then they're fucking miserable outside of work. Or like when people's only friends are people they meet at work, like it's weird when you have to let someone go or something happens, so it's like good to keep those things kind of separate and like acknowledge that like they may affect one or the other, but they're not the same thing,
Yeah, and I think that's a lot where it's just like you're saying, it's the difference between like this is business and it's nothing personal basically. It's just the business aspect of it. How did you kind of like, did you ever struggle with that yourself, or were you always just like,
I think that like I'm lucky, like I said, to have had 10 years of running a business and scaling a business and learning lessons kind of the hard way and like maturing while I'm doing it and like growing older. So it's like, all right, like, yes, I felt some type of way about one thing at one time, but then looking back, I'm like, I was just being a fucking dick or being selfish, and so let me like consciously try not to be like that again.
Yeah. And I think like we've all kind of learned from that. And it's funny because like when I see you and like your demeanor and the way you act, I'm like, dang, like that's how like Friss is. And then like he's teaching me kind of like those same things. Yeah, like it's just like a thing where it kind of like trickles down, like what you taught him, they're teaching me.
But I mean, at the same time, I learned a ton from him. I learned a ton from DC. Like I learned from you about like TikTok and social media and shit. Like if you're as a leader not able to learn from the people under you, it's like, why do you have those people in your life? And you all are very talented in what y'all do respectively, but also as a team. And so it's like, I learned a lot from y'all for the time we worked together, and I still like watching y'all social media or whatever. Like there's still things that I'll be like, oh, like it's a good idea. Like maybe I could like run with that, like when I do my day in the life videos, like you.
What?
Yeah, when you get ready with me, like only 24 every week, But like, like on real shit, it's just like trying to learn from y'all the same way that y'all learned from me. And it's like when you spend as much time together as someone like me or Briss did, like of course things about each other are gonna rub off on each other. Effects.
Yeah. And then I guess we're like 2024. What are your kind of like plans as far as like personally and as for your business?
Personally, I'll try to get as iced up as you are. No, personally, like I want to scale the company up. I want to open LA.
Yeah. Do you have like a timestamp or not?
Like maybe in the summertime is like what I'd like. I want to make sure that my team in New York is, ready for me to be gone kind of half the time, or if I need to take more time to do that. I want to do some pop-ups. Obviously I want to do a London pop-up, which is part of the reason I'm going around there to like figure that out. Mm-hmm. I'd like to maybe do like Toronto, because I have a lot of people who like buy shit for me out there. Maybe like Paris. And like I just want to continue to scale the website up. I think that's really the upside for my business. Like if I have 2 stores, if you do like 1.5 out of each of them, that's cool. But it's like if you could do another, 6 on the website, which is like doable, like you're basically where you want to be and for like my goal long term, right? So it's like, how do I scale up to that thing, to that time? As far as personal, like, I don't know, I'm just like, be happy, or get as close to being happy as you can, which is like, I think it's hard in the age of social media where it's easy, where you wake up. Like I wake up and start fucking hate as soon as I'm like professional. Like again, everyone always posts their fucking wins on social media. It's so easy to be like, damn, my life fucking sucks because of like what people are posting. I'm like, damn, like bro's like fucking in St. Bart's every other week, bro. I don't know what his statement looks like. You know, I don't know like how much like debt he has. You know, so it's like just trying to like not compare myself to other people and just like really focus on myself, my health, my family, the company. Is really what I've been trying to do kind of since the summer. Like my brother got really sick, and I thought that fool was gonna die, and so I was like, oh shit, like I should probably like spend more time talking to my family every day, just like, you know, like stop going out so much and just like focus on like what's actually important, you know, like, because the other day it's like, what am I like outside celebrating from outside like getting fucked up? It's like there's nothing to celebrate yet in my mind.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, this was the first year that I wake up literally like same shit. I was just like, fuck, like I'm
Tesla's kicking your ass.
yeah. This year, but I was just like, this year even like business wise, I was just like, fuck, I gotta like double down and focus.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like at the end of the day, like I'm 35. I started the company when I was 30. I guess 33. It was like a year ago. Like it was early December. But like I don't want to be 50 selling clothes to like 20-year-olds. Like no disrespect to 20-year-olds who are into clothes. Like, you know, like they shop with me and they're cool. But it's like, and talking to them keeps me young too, which is nice. But like I don't want to be doing this necessarily in 10 years. You know, like I want to have like pivoted to something, either scaled the company up or and exited it, or like do something where like I'm like, okay, like I can not be as front facing all the time.
Yeah, or you don't really have to be there anymore.
Was that?
Or it's just like it's still there, but
Yeah, exactly. Like, and like maybe like have other businesses as well. But I don't. It's one of those things where like I was talking to someone from my team, and they're like, "Well, what's the next thing?" And I was like, "We'll know when it happens." You know, like you can't force that. Otherwise, you're just gonna throw money in shit or like do shit that doesn't make sense. Like in the same way that like I knew this was this when like the lease fell into my lap and like people were like buying shit from me online. I was like, okay, like this is it. You know.
no, yeah, I remember seeing it all happen.
Yeah, like when you know, and I'm a big proponent of like when you know, and if it makes sense, it makes sense. And if it doesn't, you're just trying to force something that's gonna like, I don't know, like stress you the fuck out.
Yeah, because I remember I walked into that spot and I was just like, what the fuck?
Bombed out.
It literally looked like.
I mean, the spot is 100 square feet, and I put like 70 grand into it just to make it passable. You know, like it was fucked.
No, I remember I opened the door and it was like not even real floor.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad work, but like it worked out, you know, and I'm happy. Like I like having a tiny little closet to like roll over.
Yeah, I think that's what makes that store cool. It's like it's just a closet, you know. You walk in, you find some clothes, and you walk out.
Yeah, that's what he's meant. You know, like, and hopefully I've curated it to a way where like people don't have to look through the entire rack to find something they want. Maybe like a third thing they see is what they want. You know, like that's what I'd like.
Yeah.
It's it. And then I think for the LA store, like, what do you think? Because obviously, I think the style is different for obviously.
I want it to be Cali vibes, bro.
So yeah, it's like what do you want to do
for vintage this week?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I think a lot of people assume that I sell more vintage than I do. Like I have a lot of vintage, but I don't sell shit to it. It doesn't pay my bills. You know? Like, so people came in here asking me for vintage, and I'm like, oh shit, like I didn't bring any.
I think it's a LA thing because ever since we put up the vintage rack, like vintage sells the best for us. But I think it's like, again, it's like the old recipe. Like at round two, for me, when I was a consumer first, I was just like, I could get a nice $40 shirt with a good fade with fucking Jordans. Sick.
Exactly.
And I think here, same thing. Just like all our vintage is fairly cheap.
Price it really, really well.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying it's just like, it's a different option. And when I kept hearing, I was at the counter and I kept hearing like, hey, you don't have more vintage. And I can see your face like, yo, bro, I don't sell that much vintage.
Yeah, I know.
That's what.
But I think it's just two different styles. I feel like a lot of people over here are more just like the vintage tee. That's it.
Sorry, I can't pull off though. What are you asking me?
No, yeah, but like, what do you think your curation would be? Like, do you have an idea?
See, I don't know. Like, to me, I'm like, it's kind of the same shit. Like,
yeah,
like I don't really know. You know, like I think it's gonna be really predicated on what people bring me, and if it's way different, I'm like, oh, I can curate it based on this. But in my mind, I'm like, my clientele's kind of my clientele regardless. You know, so I'm like, I don't know. You know, but just judging off the few people who came to give me shit this week, I'm like, okay, I kind of have a good idea of what. Probably sell like more Fear God out here.
Yeah. No, and I think that's even like the thing is like you do have your own clientele because when you were doing the pop up, the people that were coming in like from across the street, I'm like, oh, they're coming for Luke's. Like you could just tell the community that you have, and they fuck with you and they rock with you. So it's like, and it's kind of funny because throughout obviously the year, I've like never seen that type of person come in.
Yeah.
So the fact that they are coming in, I'm like, okay, like that community's out here too. They're just more, you know, probably low key about it.
Yeah.
Probably nothing else.
No, it's so sad. It's just like people really pulled up the fits.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Jack said, this is the only time I put a fit on for you.
Yeah.
When you had like the big ass Balenciaga shoes and everything.
Yeah, he went for everything.
Best fit of the weekend.
Sure.
Yeah. Look. But yeah, I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke, for stopping by.
Yeah, I know. Be tuning too.
Tapped in.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for having me. At Lukes NYC on Instagram, www.lukes.store. I'm looking at the fucking camera, Rob. You see me look. www.lukes.store. Lukes NYC on TikTok, but we post the same shit as we do on Instagram. Yeah, check us out. 261 Broome Street, New York, New York, 10002. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me do the pop-up here. Thanks for having me. It's been really good hanging out again and like, you know, not getting to know y'all again, but like coming in for more than 20 fucking minutes, which is like how long I'm normally in here. So
Yeah.
it was making me chill.
Sure.
Yep.